Hello and happy Saturday, Detroit. Thank you for tuning in again to Beauty in the D, live on WJZZ Cool TV, where we focus on power, wealth, and style. We're here every Saturday from 1 to 2 with me, host Stephanie Coney. So, as usual, I have another great guest in the studio with me today, and I am going to give him a great introduction. I have today here Mr. Ponce D. Clay. He is a proud native of Detroit, Michigan, and a distinguished combat veteran who served over 20 years in the United States Navy with a top secret clearance. He embarked on his journey of service after graduating from Detroit's Cass Technical High School, whereupon he enlisted in the Navy. He is a distinguished alumnus of Morehouse College, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Spanish. He furthered his education at Troy State University, Japan, graduating with a Master of Public Administration. He has demonstrated his commitment to excellence as he holds a senior certification as he holds a certification as a senior professional of human resources. His thirst for knowledge led him to pursue both a JD and MBA from the University of Detroit Mercy. His commitment to public service extends beyond his military career, as he has served as chairman of the Detroit Board of Ethics and division director of Wayne County Veteran Services, embodying his dedication to his community and fellow veterans. At this time, he is the principal attorney for Clay Law PLC, a service disabled veteran owned business. He is the principal broker for Clay Realty Investment and Development Company. He is an adjunct professor, trial skills course at Thomas Cooley Law School, as well as Oakland University Paralegal Program, as well as a naval officer for the United States Navy, retired. And currently, he provides premier legal services and counsel in various areas, including probate, estate administration, real estate matters, juvenile law, and veteran benefits. He also represents minors facing neglect by parents, as well as assist veterans in securing federal, state, and county benefits and certification for veteran owned businesses. Welcome and thank you for being here today, Ponce D. Clay.
Thank you for having me. Who is that guy?
I
Oh my
believe it's the
goodness.
guy sitting across
Oh
from
my
me.
goodness. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to be here on your show and hopefully to share some information with the audience, some
Absolutely.
meaningful information with the audience.
And I've been knowing you for a while. You've been a client of mine for a
hmm
while, and I had no idea that you were a veteran. So thank you for your
Thank you for the
services.
opportunity to serve. Thanks. The privilege, frankly, to serve. Not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people get the opportunity nor the privilege to do so, and I've been fortunate to be able to do it and still interact and provide services to those and their families
Mm-hmm.
who've volunteered their time, frankly, their time and their lives and their
Their lives.
resources
Yeah.
to serve in this country. So,
Well, we thank you for being, a representative and a
mhm,
mouthpiece, and your commitment to
sure.
those individuals. So I always love talking to people who are native Detroiters,
Yeah.
especially who have had the opportunity to accomplish and do great things outside of this wonderful city.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
It's a
Detroit.
world class city. Yeah.
So you went to Cass Tech,
hmm
okay, and then went to Atlanta and went to Morehouse. Now you were there when it was like popping. That was like pre-Freaknik when you went to
It
Morehouse.
was pre and 2 years into it.
Yes,
Oh,
pre
yeah.
and into it.
Yeah.
What was it like going to a HBCU and especially Morehouse man?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I mean, obviously, you show up there and you're thrilled to be a part of a legacy,
Mhm.
and frankly challenged to be there to become educated and become educated beyond just the books
Mhm.
and what we read. Morehouse holds a crown above us,
Mhm.
and Morehouse demands that we lift and we rise to that crown in order to serve our communities. And so being there was transformational. Frankly, it's also a bond. We not only the Morehouse men, but all of the students at the AUC, the Atlanta University Center,
Hmm.
which comprises of Spelman, Morehouse, Morris Brown, Clark, Atlanta College, and then of course the International Theological Seminary that's over there as well.
Hmm.
So to answer your question in short, it was transformational. It literally was. I recall saying to myself, speaking to myself as if I were speaking to myself, this is it. This is the fork in the road. You're going to
Yeah.
make some decisions here, and the decisions here will always impact your life. And so I didn't. I said I was not going to even allow myself to screw up that opportunity.
I hear
And
you.
that's the synopsis of what happened there at Morehouse.
What was black excellence?
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of history there as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. And it continues to be that today. Morehouse produces and holds its men, its alum, not only for just school but continue
Yeah.
throughout your lifetime. And then you lift as you climb. It's not I got mine and then I'm gone.
Hmm.
Even while we're there, lifting as we climb. So yeah, Black excellence, being able to see examples, frankly, of premier scholars who
Yes.
happen to be our professors and the staff and everybody there. It really, there's nothing
Hmm.
that you couldn't say. I mean, we were also exposed to various thought, but before it was kind of, I guess you would say, popular. Various thought processes, diverse thought processes. Make it plain, it is a private school that's based in a Christian setting and
Hmm.
its founding. And so even we would have what's called Crown Forum, where we were exposed to various ways of thought, and it was mandatory. It was in the chapel,
Okay.
at the chapel, at Martin Luther King Chapel, where you were exposed for a moment various ways of thought before you went back to your studies.
That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
awesome. And it's good to hear that the gentlemen who graduate from Morehouse, were they were your professors. So
Absolutely.
that's a great give back in itself.
Hmm.
I see that over at Cass Tech. My daughter attends that. Attends there, and a lot of the teachers there,
They were the school
they're
with me.
alumni from
Right. Hmm.
Cass Tech,
Right.
and so I love it, and because that shows their dedication and the passion that they have for what
Sure.
they do. And people love saying that they're a graduate from Cass Tech
Yeah.
as well
Well,
as
yeah, but the
Morehouse.
thing of it is, it's not, hey, being pro me does not make me anti you,
All
and
right.
so I mean, if but it's not exclusive. Folks
Mm-hmm.
say that it's inclusive. That process is inclusive, and again, the benefit. Thank you. The benefit is for for all. So.
Okay. So you earned a bachelor's of arts degree in Spanish
Hmm.
at Morehouse. Talk about that, please.
Okay. Well, at the time, again, I joined the Navy right after Morehouse. Correction,
At
after Cass
Cass.
in '88, and one of the principal jobs that I had, frankly, was in Central and South America. And
Really?
so, in that, and even before then, I just kind of got a knack for languages. I picked up
Hmm.
languages fairly well and quickly.
Okay.
It's just kind of my thing. I pick it up. And so I was exposed to early on in Central and South America the African diaspora, right? The ship just didn't stop in Charleston and
Right.
Virginia.
Right.
It hit a few things along the way.
Uh huh.
And so I've always been fascinated by the Afro-Hispanic and the Afro-Hispanic diaspora. And so being exposed to that prior to going to Morehouse, I'd already picked the language up.
Okay.
And then now I find myself at Morehouse still have that knack, and so that allowed me to then learn the Kings in Spanish.
Yeah.
But my focus was still more in the African diaspora in Central and South America.
I am learning so much talking to you.
Hmm.
Okay. I studied Spanish in high school.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about that. So I was
Sure.
17 years old when
Sure.
I had the opportunity of being a foreign exchange student, but I had no idea about the African American
Hmm. Oh yeah.
dialect of
Absolutely.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, more specifically, those folks that are from, like some are
hmm.
here, where we were exposed to the Scottish and the Irish, and we speak English. Those that currently still live in Central and South America, whether it were Portuguese or Spanish, and then of course in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Those folks are genetically, those of us from the African mainland, and they speak the language and have developed obviously their own culture around it. And one of the things I do is I point out to folks sometimes, I have fun with them, they'll say something like, I didn't know that person was. It's kind of. I understand where they come from with it, so let me just say it. They'll refer to someone's genetics
Mhm.
different from their nationality, which is different than from their self-professed culture. For
Their
instance,
culture.
and they'll say something like, if we were in Brazil right now, and you say, "Hey, you and I are from Brazil," they'll say, "Man, I didn't know you were Portuguese. I thought you were black."
Wow. Right.
My genetics, I can be living in Russia right now. I
Right.
want to learn the Russian. I'm a Russian. Believe me, they're British citizens, and a lot of them are actors, right?
Right.
And they're black. And so before I go down that road, essentially, wherever I go and whenever I went down there and when I was exposed, I found myself going to the cultural areas of where people, blacks, were in those
Yes.
countries. And so Spanish allowed me to have more of an in-depth interaction with
Yeah.
them and us, and frankly, it's all the same. It's all
So
the same.
we have so much to get into,
Yeah.
but before we do, because you really are educating me right now, I would like to know what is the culture like for African Americans over there. Do they experience the same levels of racism
Well, it
and?
depends. Well, so for so let me define it. For those from the African diaspora, those
Mhm.
that are genetics, right, like
Mhm.
us, some of those things are the same. It depends on what country. But what more positively, we connect. Believe me, you connect. You hear the music, it's no big deal. The
Yeah.
food is the same.
Okay.
Believe me,
Got
they.
some beans and
Hey,
rice.
one of the things I did, absolutely, the food, the music, it comes from the motherland. There
Wow.
may be a tweak to it, but believe me, I went to the same barber and he was cutting my hair as if I were here in Detroit.
Okay.
So when
Okay.
I went to get something
Yeah.
to eat and they were cooking it up, that chicken tastes good just as well. It may have a little, different to it, the beans, the rice, the
Yeah.
greens. We have more in common than we had differences.
Gotcha.
There may be some more social division, more socially,
Uh huh.
not necessarily by the hue of your
Uh
skin,
huh.
but again, that's the culture there. So I would not say that there was anything better. It was
Mhm.
just different. It's
Mhm.
just different.
And you were obviously able to hold your own, because that's what we native Detroiters do. We
It's
stand out everywhere we
worldwide.
go, right?
Worldwide. I've been in countries and I looked over and went, they're from Detroit. I bet you they're from
The
Detroit.
swag is
The whole nine.
something.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, because I like languages, I hear them talking.
Oh, the
We might
dialect.
not think that we have dialect,
You
but there's a
know,
Detroit dialect. Believe me, there's even
somebody just said
sub
that.
dialects here
Yeah.
in the city.
Yeah.
You can listen to somebody and go, "Oh, I know where they're from in the city."
Uh
And
huh.
so it's here. So I'm nerding out, but the point is that I do languages,
Uh
have
huh.
always, and they come fairly easy, and that has allowed me an interaction to be able to learn more and to be exposed specifically, as we were just talking about. And I know we have to move on to other blacks in other countries that speak Spanish.
Awesome. Now, Clayton Neal was my guest last week, and
Good buddy of mine. Good buddy.
yeah, and so he was talking about his travels and being we're native Detroiters,
Hmm.
and come back and we do our thing, and he was saying the exact same thing you just said, like that Detroit swag. He said people tell me all the time you guys have an accent. He said I don't hear it. I guess because,
Oh yes, we do. You
but
want it? You ready
people say
for it?
that. I'm ready.
I'm about to go make groceries on Saturday.
What up, dog?
That is one example.
Yep, we got our own thing, and I love it. I'm proud to say I'm from
Proud.
Detroit. So, you furthered your education at Troy State University, Japan.
Right.
And talk about that.
Sure. At the time, I was stationed in Japan. Again, Tokyo, Yokohama, a major city. In fact, one of the first memories I remember getting off the train, and I see the big billboard like we're in Times Square, and I hear Mary J. Blige bumping.
Stop.
Listen, it's a metropolitan area.
Okay.
Very culturally diverse, of course, their history, but progressive too. And that was the first place I saw people texting were folks over
What
there.
year was that?
This was 99, 2000.
Okay.
I'm like, what's going on
Oh, they
there?
very
Oh
progressive.
yeah, they would text and Hello Kitty, Hello Moto, cell phones and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed that, but also in the same time, of course, I'm in the Navy, I'm working, and one of the things about the Navy is there's an expectation that you continue to educate yourself.
Okay.
We're a very technically based Navy. It is, in fact, for all armed forces. Let me dispel that myth right now.
Okay.
You know,
For
those.
all armed
Listen,
forces.
those your U.S. armed forces are well equipped, well educated, and resilient. It's a multi-billion-dollar world global force, and the expectation is in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math type things. Of course, the arts as well, because that's how you expand and you connect with other folks.
Mm-hmm.
So in that particular case, there, I've always liked learning. That's my thing,
Mm-hmm.
cradle to grave. I've always been inquisitive, and so an opportunity presented itself first at Temple, but I had family, little kids, and I was not, I couldn't balance that. So Troy State University in Japan provided an opportunity for me when I was not at work to earn a master's degree in public administration. And the reason why public administration, because not only did I lead our nation's brightest as far as say soldiers, sailors, Marines, Guardians. We also had foreign nationals that was also part of the staff, and then also some U.S. Civil servants. And so that, I found myself doing that already. Opportunity presented itself, and I earned the master's in public administration with a focus on federal personnel.
Wow. You were super busy, and obviously extremely disciplined.
Yeah, but that didn't happen in the Navy. I grew up in my parents' house. The Navy just happened to benefit from it.
Okay.
That didn't happen in the Navy. So that was a result of home training, as they used to say.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Or as the old people say, good stock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that is a lot of discipline to be in a foreign country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still educate yourself and be educated and earn a degree
Sure.
while being there. So let's talk about the chairman of Detroit Board of Ethics, as well as the division director of Wayne County Veteran Services.
Sure.
How does that all tie in together, and are you still a part of that?
I'm no longer. I've served my terms there, but what is all along the lines of public service. This
Mhm.
continued theme of public service. I had the opportunity to be appointed as first a board member of the Detroit Board of Ethics, which is an independent board that it's governed by an ordinance. I don't have it in front of me, but it's governed by an ordinance. And our job was to what we did not do is go seek quote unquote wrongdoing.
Mhm.
What we did was examine if public employees, specifically City of Detroit public employees, went afoul of a lot of times just regulations.
Okay.
I'll say it that way. But then what we did, and eventually I became, well, first of all, I served with some good people
Okay.
on that board, and a part of the alum of folks who served on that board prior to me, in a sense, are some noted people. If you went to the website, you'll see it.
Mhm.
But what we also did during that it was a very young board, and we stabilized. We got to place our own offices. We interacted with the city of Detroit's HR. We became proactive. We found that some people would go afoul of the laws or the ordinances or the statutes of being an employee,
Mhm.
right? And just sincerely didn't know. They weren't
Mhm.
out to try to get over or do
Mhm.
anything criminal or anything. So
They
we
just had
thought
no idea.
it didn't have any idea.
So you guys help put policies and procedures.
We engaged in the training in the beginning when HR comes on board. Here are the
Okay.
things that you can do.
Got
Here are the
you.
things that you can't do as an employee
Okay.
of the city of Detroit.
And if you
so,
do them, I'm assuming you guys were the ones who put in place like disciplinary action
we
or
made recommendations.
Okay.
Again, it's been a while now, but there's some recommendations that would range from, frankly, reporting if it's still current.
Mhm.
Let me say that because I want to say if it's still current, and you would find that currency. I'm talking like a lawyer now. You would find that
You are.
reference in whatever the current ordinance is
Uh-huh.
or the enabling legislation for the city of Detroit's Board of Ethics. With that being said, from what I recall, it could be anything from just a reprimand to training. Again, my
Mhm.
thing was always, when people know better, they do better.
Right.
It gets a sense what's going on. It could be an admonishment, or frankly, turn it over to higher authority. As far as I was appointed by Warren Evans as you mentioned, the Department for Veterans.
Mhm.
And with that, listen, that was very exciting. There are, at the time, based on the census, almost 80,000 veterans, not to even talk about their families,
Here?
in Wayne County
Just
proper,
in Wayne
in that
County?
area.
Okay.
You know, quote me on the census, but there are a lot.
Okay.
How's that? And so what that organization did was assist veterans in the knowledge of, we would go brief people about it, the application for veteran services at the state, county, or correction, at the county, state, and federal level. What we found is there are a lot of families and veterans that have served very well, but they were not aware of the benefits that were entitled to them. And those benefits go across the board, whether they were health benefits, housing benefits, education benefits, in some cases monetary benefits. And so that was the core of that organization.
Well, so how do you reach these veterans, the ones who, how do they find you? How do you find them,
Sure.
those who don't, are not aware of the benefits that are available to them?
Understood. We still do that. Well, I'm sure they still do it now, but you go where they are, right? You go, a lot of times they may be in a not so negative way. Sometimes they may be at the missions. Other times what we did is engaged. There's a process where you out process when you come back to Detroit, like I did. If you could, so you go part of that classroom. Like these are some of your benefits, and there are other places where veterans, to answer your question narrowly, we would brief at union meetings, because those folks,
At the union
yeah,
meetings.
that's right, union meetings. Those were older veterans, right? Those that have served in World War II or Korea, Vietnam. We would brief. I engaged with some funeral directors, right, because they had veterans and then their families, and so we were deliberate in whether it be leveraging the internet, the social media, good old-fashioned placards, and engaging not only the veterans but their families. A lot of times I found that if you educated or taught or shared with one of the family members, then they in turn did the research and went forward in
To
order.
help them.
Absolutely. To
Right.
engage with that.
Yes. And people need help. All different walks of life. People
Yeah.
need help, and our veterans, they deserve that. But wow. Like when I, as an insurance agent, when people would tell me, "Hey, I got USAA," I would say, "You know what?
Mhm.
You good,
Yeah.
and you deserve that." You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Amongst many other benefits. So let me ask you this: how do you feel that veterans are treated here in this country? Do you feel that?
Well, yeah, yeah, I mean, absolutely. And there have been waves of things,
Okay.
but right now, I mean, I think, at least my experience has been, because I am one,
Right.
I think that America still honors and holds high its veterans, and that there's a duty. Hence the reason why we have the Department of Veterans Affairs. That legislation was born by Abraham Lincoln that said we owe a duty to the veterans and its widow and its kids, or something to that effect. Basically, for those that have served. Of course, in other areas, there may be more veteran friendly. Typically, places that have a lot of bases,
Okay.
right? Where the economy depends
Right.
on that. So, the Texas, the Floridas, the Californias. But specifically here in Michigan and in the greater Detroit area, Wayne County, Detroit, veterans programs are robust, they're deliberate, and they're continual.
Okay.
It's not just a fad.
So you also help with the getting veterans certified to have veteran-owned businesses. That certification.
Sure.
How does that work? How do
Sure.
they find you?
Yep, based on U.S. code, it's what so again various levels, but we'll talk first at the federal level. The Department of Veterans Affairs, and now I think it's morphed to the Small Business Association. You can become a certified, and you have to go through a certification, veterans-owned business, and there are various levels. My business are certified service connected, 100% service connected veterans-owned business. And with that, based on the federal level, there are some things where there's preference for certain type of services and contracts,
Okay.
and employment. You get preference for employment if you're if in the executing or being a vendor for providing services.
Okay.
So that's at the federal level. There are similar levels of that type of initiative, those
On the
types of
local
initiatives at the
levels?
local,
Yeah.
county, and state level. And it could vary from something such as if you're a veteran, for instance, you show your veteran card, you get a free. You don't have to pay for your fishing license. It could be something like that.
Okay.
If you're a certain level of veteran, you don't have to pay, and your license plate never expires.
Really?
If you're a certain type of veteran, some municipalities, your principal residence where you live, you don't have to pay your property taxes. And that in this area equals a savings between $4,000 and $6,000 right out the rip. So
Yes.
those are the types of programs that are
Wow.
already out there. They're on
Okay.
the books. They're at the federal, state, county, and local level.
So how do people find this information out? Please, for
Sure.
anybody who's watching or somebody's family member
Absolutely.
that's watching, how can they find out,
Well,
especially about the taxes?
Sure. Well, what I would suggest, because we do have the internet, and I always say for folks that might be a little challenged, I say if you got a grandchild or anybody under 20, give them that phone and they'll figure it out for you.
Yeah.
And so let's just start first with, and I'm going to use, just nomenclatures. Go to the VA website, right?
Okay.
Click benefits.
So it's not a secret.
It's not a secret at all. Those are the federal levels. In Michigan, go to the Michigan Veterans. I think it's MVAA. I forget what it's called, but again, go Michigan Veterans Affairs,
And just go
Yeah,
down a rabbit hole.
and right
from
down there.
Yeah.
If you're in Wayne County, go to Wayne County's website, Department of the Veterans there. And then at the local level for the city, got to dig, at least my experience, a little bit more, but it's still right there.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, you say I don't do this internet type stuff. Call the Veterans 1-800 number. I don't have it here in front of me, but it's easy to find out.
Okay.
I think it's 1-800-576-1000 or something like this. And if that still doesn't work, head down to one of the, whether it be the John Dingle,
Okay.
and their representatives there, or reach out to one of the congressionally, I guess you say congressionally certified veterans organizations that help. The Disabled Veterans of America. I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm just giving an idea.
Yeah.
Disabled Veterans of America, the VFW, the American Legion, those types of things. It's there. It's within the fingertips. It's not really, really hard. You just got to lean into it.
Just lean into it.
Yeah.
And there's a whole nother world of waiting for
Yeah.
them. They just got to look. Now, as it pertains to the veteran-owned certification for businesses, is it really beneficial for someone to obtain that certification?
Absolutely. It depends.
It's really
on,
benefits.
I think it is. I mean, think about it. If you have an opportunity to get first preference on certain types of contracts for services that you provide, again, I didn't make that law up. It's a U.S. federal code law.
Okay.
And of course, it's beneficial. It's beneficial depending on how you deal with your business. So, say for instance, if you're a janitorial service kind of person, if you get and it'll give you an idea of some of the RFPs that come out.
Okay.
FEMA may need a small building cleaned out to provide services. They speak to you first, and if you
Okay.
can't do that, or if you can't partner with anybody to do that, then of course it's to the wide folks,
Right.
because this service still
But they're
has
going to
to
give
be
you
done.
first preference.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
veterans out
Yeah.
there who aren't taking advantage of this, or if you're thinking about
If you're
starting a
providing
business.
supplies, can you imagine if you're providing recyclable or waste paper baskets or toilet paper to a federal agency?
Wow.
Right? Can you imagine? I'm just thinking of some of the things I've seen before. Hey, we need 100 doors at this construction site. We got 100 doors. Installation of doors.
And if that's what you do,
right,
yeah,
get a chance to
why not
fair
bid
bid
on
on
that?
those types of things.
Yeah.
And of course, it's your performance and make sure all your business is in place.
of
but,
course.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So Esquire, Attorney Ponce Clay.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Well, still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. As I shared with you, it's a lifelong process, but continuous learning. But after I retired from the Navy, very fortunate. After I retired from the Navy, as a result of my service and those benefits that we talk about, I still had quite a few of education benefits afforded to me. And one of the dreams deferred while raising my family and being in the service and serving was law school.
How long did it take you to get? Because we didn't really do a
Sure.
timeline, but for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna go and get my JD.
Well, it's always been there, right? It's always been there. And my family members and people around me, because of my natural curiosity about things and being able to provide solutions to family members or people that would ask me things, they would pour into you. You sound like a lawyer. I didn't know what that meant. But, you hear that over and over and over and over again, and that's the power of the words, right? And with those same power of words, you can almost crush somebody's dreams. But that was the power of those words. And so it was already imprinted in me. Frankly, when I sought to attend to be accepted to law school, I didn't know if I was going to practice. All I knew was that it was always over my head, and I was told. And so I sought that education. And then I earned a license to practice.
Okay. So when you got the law degree, what was your initial focus in your area
Sure.
of law?
A couple of years before, I was also licensed real estate, so I'm
Mhm.
interested in real estate. So I kind of naturally gravitated towards that from being a real estate salesperson, real estate broker.
Mhm.
Um, but COVID happened, and before you know it, I found myself. A lot of people were at home.
Mhm.
I'm not being silly about it, and there was a lot of kids that were fighting with their parents. and I mean, literally, you couldn't have told me that. That's how I found myself in juvenile defense.
Wow.
Kids were at home and they're doing, in some cases, going through things. That natural dynamic
Yeah.
of what was happening. Whereas,
Everybody was getting on each
yeah,
other's nerves in the
absolutely.
house.
And right. And there's a I didn't make it up, but I was told that some teacher said, "See, now you see what it is that you sitting to me every day." Don't Nobody,
Right.
don't get in your feelings. But the point is that that's where I found myself there, and in some cases those same stresses, which is not funny at all, resulting in some children being neglected,
Okay.
and as a result of that, we found ourselves in a spike of those types of incidents where those kids needed to be protected,
Mhm.
and so that's where I found myself first. Um, and frankly, during COVID, people passed away.
Yeah.
Right? And so they passed away. They didn't have either estate plan, will, life insurance, no backup plan, and then they own real property.
Mm.
See how it comes together?
Yeah.
And so then I found myself going from real property or transactions and things like that when people are here and alive to now these same family members having to try to find a way to hold on and preserve that legacy, but legally from a family member who actually owns the property and it needs to be disposed of properly.
Right.
Or it needs to be administered properly. You just can't go put it in my name. It doesn't work
It
like
has to
that.
be administered
Right.
properly. So, and I say this in a very kind, jokingly way. You're like all over the place,
Yeah. I
but you
think so.
have passion. I can feel that. I can see that. You got the passion for the veterans. You got the passion for the kids, and clearly you have a passion for the community as a whole.
And it all intersects though. Steph, it
Yeah.
does. I mean, I may, you rattle it off and it may be on a list, but it all intersects.
Yeah.
And it intersects that it's people. It's
Mhm.
people with various things in their lives. Who doesn't want to have a place to stay, right? And
Yeah.
then that trauma, if all of a sudden that place is threatened,
Mhm.
right? Who doesn't? Hey, let's stick with the veteran themselves. Her that comes back with some type of trauma. A
Mhm.
mother, a
Mhm.
veteran mother.
Yeah.
How you stabilize that. The children that also have a part of that. But that's on that side. But let's be proactive about it, right?
Mhm.
So let's make sure one thing. For instance, we all will die. So then, what's that package look like? Whether it be a simple will, estate
Yeah.
planning, complex estate planning, and then if you own your business, how do you want to wind that up?
Mhm.
And then the assurance that comes along with it.
Right.
And so it does. It comes all together. It may be individual on the surface, but it's a easy, not easy. It's seamless.
Well,
In the
when you're living
execution of
life,
it.
is levels to it,
Sure.
and we all have different chapters
Yeah.
in our life that we must complete.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you assist people with trusts and wills as well?
I do.
Okay.
Everybody's stuff is different, right?
Okay.
There's no one size fit all. But for those that I find that may either be beyond my scope or I think they need to be, because for me it's always about the fit,
Okay.
right? If I'm the best fit for you,
Right.
if I'm not the best fit for you, then I have colleagues that know how to do that stuff, and I refer.
Okay.
And so yes, I do. I've done everything from, frankly, hey, the time is coming, and I've been summoned to the bed, doing it right there. Or folks that are proactive.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Or folks that are proactive. They went from, hey, we had a good time, we're now married. Oh gosh, we just decided to have babies. So now what does my life look like?
Yeah.
Right. So those types of things. Or someone who's established themselves very well. They have 2 businesses, 3 trophy
Yeah.
wives, 2 ex-wives, 5 kids. How do we get this thing together? Right.
Right.
And one on the way. Because there's some protection. There need to be some things to be in place.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Clay Realty Investment and Development Company.
Yeah.
How we get there?
All right.
'Cause you don't just wake up and become a broker.
No, well, believe it or not, having an opportunity to live all over the place. I was always a consumer for me and my family, so I
Mhm.
understood that process. And then you would buy, those were the good years. You buy
Okay.
the house, 3 years later you sell it, you make your money, you keep going.
Mhm.
Well, I'll share with you. And then so after. There was one particular incident in my life that made me go, how does this work to make sure I protected myself and my family? And and that's when I returned. Remember when the bottom fell out?
Mhm.
I didn't.
Like 2007,
Hmm.
2008.
Right, and that's when I returned back to the states.
Okay.
I was very fortunate. We were on the other side of that cycle. We were the ones going, "Hey, let's buy, let's buy, let's buy," with real money and
Well,
not
you had
borrowed money.
veteran money too,
Correct.
but
Yeah,
go
well, we're running it. And
ahead.
so I said, you know what? And there's a saying I said, let's take the hustle to the muscle. Let's refine things now.
Mhm.
You go so far when you just use your own wit sense, but you want to polish this thing out. And so one of the things I figured to polish it out is learn the industry itself, become licensed. What are the accountabilities? What are the processes? What are the things that make sense? What are the other people that do things? No, well, kind of a knock, but no knock on those in the beginning that don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
But then once you're in that industry and you're in that stream of commerce, to
It's your
protect that's your
responsibility to know.
responsibility, and
Yeah.
it's to protect the public that you become licensed
Uh huh.
in what it is you do. So that's how I found myself there. Learned
So
under
who
the
are you
tutelage.
licensed with? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm myself, Clay Realty. I'm a
No, I'm
broker.
saying prior to
Oh,
that.
prior to, oh, my
Yeah.
colleague, Aisha Thomas, the
Okay.
Thomas Agency, LLC, a
Okay.
plug, a Thomas Agency, the LLC. She's licensed here in Detroit, cast technician, currently lives in Atlanta, but licensed in Georgia, Detroit, and California,
Okay.
and is also a licensed attorney in Georgia. And so we're
Wow.
partners, and we've
Okay.
been working together for 10 years. Yeah, 10 years now. So that's how that happened in the very beginning.
Okay.
I was on the Isha Thomas, the Thomas Agency, the
Okay.
real estate company. But she also has AJT, which is her law firm.
Okay.
So,
Shout out to
yeah.
AJT.
Mm-hmm.
So, you learn, what you need to learn under her,
Yep.
and then you said to yourself, you know what? I'm gonna do this for myself. I'm assuming that's how the
Yeah,
conversation went in your head.
she developed me, right? And
Uh-huh.
so for her, it wasn't so much just work with me for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
I expect for you to understand these processes and then do your own thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. And that's
Okay.
how we went from mentor mentee to partners.
Okay.
We partner on quite a few real estate and legal deals. There's some things that because I'm not licensed in Georgia.
Mhm.
Again, we talked about that connect.
Yeah.
The Atlanta, Detroit South. So there'll be Detroiters down there that things that impact them up here.
Mhm.
I'll take the work up here. There's Detroiters up here. We're down in Atlanta. I refer down there.
That's
So that's how
awesome.
that works. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any agents that work for you?
I do. I have a few. We're in transition right now.
Okay.
I find I'm pivoting with Clay Realty, and now what we do more is listings, specifically as we spoke about those probate properties. So I have a niche now, a nuance. You just don't. There are a couple of additional steps
Okay.
to make sure that the estate is protected when you either dispose of or actually evict people who are in properties that are not owned by the people that are in there.
Now, I want to delve into this.
Yep.
Because I have a girlfriend who is living next door to a property that's been tied up in probate for
Okay.
quite some time.
All right.
What does this process look like? And the whole thing was messed up. The family member cannot get it. Also, the life insurance, the person who passed never changed or
Can I keep it
updated
simple?
the
Can I keep it simple?
beneficiary.
Can I
Yeah.
keep it simple? Whether you're here or whatever your great beyond is,
Mhm.
you go. Let me say it. I know our audience. You go to heaven,
Mhm.
but your business still stay here.
Mm.
Okay. And so you go, well, they're deceased. I want to get it. I said, don't work like that. They still own it. They have bills. Now, if the estate can't pay for it, and they go, what do you mean? I said, pretend as if mom or dad are standing right here next to me.
Mhm.
And they go, okay. And I said, if you wanted to have their house, how do you get it? You have to give it to me. Or what? They have to sell it to me.
Mhm.
Same process. You establish an estate, which is essentially the legal form or entity that represents that human person,
Mhm.
and that estate then is either continues on with its business. It
Mhm.
has to pay its bills. It can be sued to if somebody owes it. Now the whole 9 yards. So to give a very, very simple, even though it's more complex than that, it can be at times. What you see generally, and I'm glad we went to this, is again people with good intentions,
Mhm.
right? Good
Mhm.
intentions, but they're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah. Or just forget or don't know.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's why we are here doing these things.
So why does stuff, or how does things stay tied up in probate for so long?
Well, sometimes it's so long, sometimes it's not. Some it depends, right?
Uh-huh.
But I can.
So they
answer-
need you.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
can they contact
Well,
you?
I can be
Paz?
reached at 313-288-9469, the old-fashioned way.
Mhm.
I was taught at Cast Tech and radio TV speech that you you say it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
313-288-9469. That's where I can be reached. 313-288-9469. And of course on the internet, Clay Law PLC. It's there. But short as we book to end that, it depends. Probate can be as simple as a process. No longer does work in business.
Got you.
Simply, just because somebody died and you're related to them, their stuff ain't yours,
Mm-hmm.
and you ain't entitled to it. There's a
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm. So, Thomas Cooley Law School. You're over there, trial skills course. You're a professor.
Right. That was now I tell you that's just an honor. One of my buddies who's a federal magistrate.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm a recipient of having people that look, talk, and connect like me in front of me and teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just giving back. I'll just say it right there. That's that, and I enjoy it too. Right. I enjoy it. I've been taught by some wonderful people, practitioners, when I was in law school, and so the opportunity presented itself. I guess I met the mark, and I'm an adjunct professor, not full-time, adjunct
Okay.
professor, sometime part-time, fill in the blanks from one of my mentors, and the course is trial practice, where the students are just about at the end of law school,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going through rote, this is how it, a trial.
Okay.
That's what that is. Whereas at Oakland University, that program is the paralegals program,
Mm-hmm.
and more specifically, I teach over there probate administration of paralegals. Because believe me, I'm not the only one jamming on that computer. Right?
They're doing a lot
right.
of work.
Yeah,
The
so
back
they're
end.
the one the stuff that matters.
All the
you know?
research.
Yeah, the
Gotcha.
stuff that matters. So you might even call that self-serving, teaching those that will come into the workforce, which is a pretty good career.
Mm-hmm.
There are some senior paralegals, frankly, they the only thing they don't have is a license to practice. They know
Gotcha.
the law inside and out, if not better than some practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a value.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just pouring back into the to the ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm.
The legal services and legal practice ecosystem.
Now, getting back to real estate, because that's what brought us together.
Yep.
We're both proud members of the Greater Detroit Realtors Association.
Yep.
Which is an extension of NARAB, which is a whole wealth of knowledge in itself.
And I'm now associated also with the Detroit Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Dar.
Yep.
Yes. So, how did you become affiliated with the Greater Detroit Realtors Association?
Sure.
And how long have you been affiliated with the
I think
organization?
4 years now. 4 years
4
now. I was
years.
invited to one of the meetings. I was
Okay.
invited to one of the meetings, and at that meeting met Tanisha Wilson, who was
Okay.
at the time
Shout out
the
to
president.
Tanisha.
Yep, and a lot of our, Renee Johnson, those folks,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically it was Tanisha Wilson that laid it down. If you're here, and she of course shared the history of the organization, and it just was an easy fit. Again, an easy fit from like-minded individuals and professionals.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for. Folks that was not on that bull, and I'm gonna say it just like that.
Mhm.
People that had a high standard, made sure Lolita Haley, all those kind of folks that high standard and a mission or responsibility of ensuring specifically Detroiters, it's a major African American city.
It
So
is.
most of our clients were, those in maintaining, obtaining, or the proper disposal of real property.
And a lot of people don't know that organization was actually founded here in Detroit.
Okay.
I didn't find out about NARAB myself until I lived in Atlanta.
Okay.
Empire Board of Realtors, shout out. Their board, oh my goodness, if you're not there on time, it's like it's standing room only.
Sure.
Like the African American realtors there, it's like a must.
Right.
Hey, because it's black excellence in real estate. It's like you must belong to this organization.
Sure.
But yeah, just understanding the history and why it was founded in the first place. We have come a long way.
Yeah.
And Detroit has been the mark
Oh my goodness.
of black
yes.
excellence,
Absolutely.
the history here and the things that have been born from this great city.
In some cases, you have to leave to be able to appreciate it.
Thank you.
That you're literally
Well
here sitting
said.
on gold.
Sitting on gold. Sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side.
What might be a little
but-
wetter.
Yeah, and I
Turns
say
out
that
right.
often. I had to go to Atlanta to find out what was in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Oh, yeah.
mean? So now, what area in particular of real estate do you focus on? Is it commercial real estate, residential, or do
Well,
you
what we're
dabble in
doing
both?
now is, yeah, thank you. What we're emerging now, I call it an emerging developer.
Mhm.
Just give you a quick backstory. Well,
Mhm.
no, the bottom line is we're in the pre-development stage right now. 31 units on the Dexter Boulevard,
Okay.
Dexter Boulevard area.
31 units.
Yeah. Well, that's what the pro forma says, but we're still tweaking. Those
Okay.
people that know that understand what that means. But nonetheless, it's mixed use.
Okay.
We've already done the environmentals. We've already done the surveys. We're working on what the conceptual design looks like, and so that's where we are with that. So we've gone from the practice, obviously, to what the practice along real property, to servicing folks through Clay Realty, and now being a developer. It's a ground
Wow.
up development.
So you just keep trying new things.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah, we're also looking at maybe Veterans Row because
Okay.
obviously, I'm pretty familiar with that
Yeah.
program. But all of this is in the it's it, it's in the developing stage as we now take these ideas and concepts. The next step now is conceptual design, schematic designs, and then architectural plans.
So
Right. So
how long is this planning
it
stage?
is a stage. It is as long as it takes, frankly. Of
Mhm.
course, ideally, I like to have my own timeline that goes along with it. But just like anything else, when it's new, or for those people that do rehabs, you get a general idea, but as soon as you open that wall, you go, now there's something else. So
Yeah.
you have to be flexible and pivotal to what's going on and responsive, frankly, to the economy. If all of a sudden
Yeah.
the price of lumber goes up, that blows my plan away. So it
Exactly. You gotta
depends,
retweak.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's a continuous process, but it's deliberate.
Now the Bingo Company
Yep.
LLC.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. And believe it or not,
I
this
think we're
time
about ready
goes
to
by
wrap
so
up.
fast.
Yeah.
We got like
So in
2
summary,
minutes.
that was the umbrella company for all things that were not legal.
Uh-huh.
That umbrella company. I'm also a consultant in development, and so I just put it under one thing.
And talk about the name.
The name Benjamin and Kelsey. I've been fortunate enough to have four beautiful children, and Benjamin and Kelsey were the first. The two, the first girl, and then my son,
Mhm.
and I just came up with it. It was also a Florida company when I lived in Florida,
Okay.
but it was just again, I've been the result of if you set that standard,
Mhm.
right? And I thought maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. Right now they're probably like, yeah, whatever. But what more to honor? At least when they become better adults, that this
Yeah.
company embodies my commitment to them.
It's so much that I wanted to discuss. I hate that we only
No
have
worries.
1 minute.
Thanks for the opportunity.
But before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about the time management, like how you have time to juggle all of this. If you could, wrap us up with talking about that, and what do you want people to know about Ponce Clay?
Sure. Wrap it up. Time management is very deliberate. The night before, if God allows me to live the next day, here's where things are. It's not structured. You think that things being structured that you're rigid. No, you're really flexible.
Mhm.
Like today, right? Flexed a little bit on the time, got
Mhm.
here, but I know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So that's how we do time management. We were deliberate in how much time we're going to allocate, and then if we have to, we just rearrange things, and then we stay flexible. As far as Ponce Clay, hey, listen, first generation Detroiter, hey, just dazzled by the bright lights in the big city, and still don't know what I want to do yet.
And still growing.
There it is. 313-288-9469.
Well, thank you for
Clay
your
Law,
services.
Clay Realty, Clay Development.
Thank you for your veteran services. Thank you for being here today. Ponce D. Clay, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
And
Thanks for having me.
I would love for you to stop by again. You have
Sure,
so
please.
much
Let's talk, let's
to
talk
bring.
after the new year.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Yep,
All
yep.
right, take care.
Thank you, Detroit, for tuning in to another edition of Beauty in the D. You can catch us here on Wjzz Cool TV every Saturday with the host, me, Stephanie Coney, as we focus on power, wealth, and